Okay, so we're going to say the absolute value of x equals 3. This means the distance from x to 0 is 3. So if we were to draw this, here is 0. What answers could we have? What numbers are a distance of 3 units away from 0? -3 and +3, right? So we would say 1, 2, 3. This is +3, so here's one solution. X could equal +3. 1, 2, 3. X could equal -3. We have exactly 2 solutions that would work. +3 and -3. Those are a distance of 3 units away from 0. Now, when you do inequalities, things get a little bit crazier. So we're going to say if the absolute value of x is less than 5, then what this means is the distance from x to 0 is less than 5. So we're going to draw this again. Here's 0. Let's think of a number that x could be. So give me a number where the distance between 1, or where the number and 0, give me a number where the distance between that number and 0 is less than 5. 2. So the number could be 2. Give me another number. 3. The number could be 3. Give me another number. 4. The number could be 4. 1. The number could be 1. What about 2.5? Okay, 2.5 would work. What about 4.9? Okay, so you got 1, 2, I'm going to label these. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's 5. 5 doesn't work because that's not a distance of less than 5, but 4.9 would work. What about 4.99? Okay. What about 4.999? Okay. What about 4.9999999? Okay. So all of those would work as long as I don't get all the way to 5. It just has to be less than 5. Okay. What about -1? The distance between -1 and 0. Is that a distance of less than 5? Okay, that's a distance of 1, so that's less than 5. Okay. So -1 would be okay. What about -2? Okay. -2 would be fine. What about -3? Okay. What about -4? Yeah. What about -4.99? Okay. So if they say the distance from x to 0 is less than 5, then you can use all of the numbers in between here. Everything right up to -5, you just can't have -5 exactly. And everything right up to +5, you just can't have +5 exactly. But everything in between would be fine, because the distance between 0 and those numbers would be a distance of less than 5. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm going to put a circle on the 5, and I'm -5, and I'm going to put a circle on the +5, so I can't equal those exactly. That's why I don't fill it in. But I fill in everything else, and the way that I do this with inequalities is I just make it dark. So do you guys remember with the inequality graphs how we shaded things that were true? This is kind of like shading those inequality graphs where we make the answers that work, we make them dark. And the way that we write this is we say for an answer like this that x is allowed to be any number that's sandwiched in between -5 and 5. X is allowed to be any answer that is sandwiched in between -5 and 5. Quentin, you texted me that answer so I know what it is? Yeah, that's what he's doing. Yeah. Yeah. Appreciate it, Quentin. Okay. All right, let's try another one. All right, this one. Absolute value of x is greater than or equal to 4. So this one says the distance from x to 0 is greater than or equal to 4. The distance from x to 0 is greater than or equal to 4. Okay, so let's draw this. So we're going to put 0 in the middle. What is a number where the distance from that number to 0 would be greater than 4? 5, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, okay. What's another number where the distance between 0 and that number is greater than 4? 4.5. Somebody else said 6. What's another number? 7. Anything behind 4, right? Anything past 4. Okay, so we're going to say, now can you equal 4 exactly based on the way it's phrased? So it says anything greater than or equal to 4. Okay, so here's the 4 right here. I'm going to fill this in because we're allowed to have 4. And then anything past 4. So the distance between the number and 0, it just has to be bigger than 4 or it can equal 4. So all of these numbers over here, these are all fair game. All of these numbers would have a distance. I'm going to use an arrow because I'm going to say anything bigger than that. Okay? What about the negative direction? What if I go to the left? What number would have a distance bigger than 4 if I was going to the left? -5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So -5 would have a distance that's bigger than 4. What's another number? -6 would have a distance bigger than 4. It says equal to 4, so I heard somebody say -4 would be an okay distance because it says it can equal 4 exactly. What else? -7. Okay, so these we would shade it going this way. So we would say x is less than or equal to -4, or x is greater than or equal to +4. Okay, here's another problem. B is less than or equal to 2. So the distance from x to 0 is less than or equal to 2. not X, sorry, I used a different letter this time. The distance from B to 0 is less than or equal to 2. Okay, so what's a number that would make that true? 1. So 1 is allowed. 2 is allowed because that's a distance of 2 exactly. -1. Is 3 allowed? 3 is less than or equal to 2? 3 is not allowed. Is -3 allowed? What the number is less than 2, but is the distance between that number and 0 a distance that is less than 2? No. Okay, so that's why it doesn't work. -2 would work. Okay. So we know -3 doesn't work. We know +3 doesn't work. Okay. So what should I do now? Shade in between these. Okay. Okay, so what's my conclusion here? What kind of answers can I have for B? Yeah, they have to be in between -2 and +2. The answers for B have to be in between -2 and +2. Does that make sense? It's got to be sandwiched in between. So we're going to say that B is in between -2, +2. That's how we write it. It's in between. Lily, you texted me the answer? But I need to know the answer. Are you texting it to me? All right, here's the next one. We're going to have K is greater than 1. So we've got the distance from K to 0 is greater than 1. The distance from K to 0 is greater than 1. Okay, so I'm going to make my line. I got 0 in the middle. What numbers have a distance that's greater than 1 from 0? 2. -2. 3. -3. What about 1.5? 1.5 is okay. What about 1.1? What about 1.01? What about 1.001? What about 1.000001? What about 1? No. So we're going to put a circle on 1. What about -1? Okay, so what should I do? Shade. And what's it going to look like when I'm done shading? It's going to have two arrows. What are the arrows going to be doing? They're going to go opposite ways. So from 1 and -1, I'm going to have circles that are not filled in because I can't have 1, I can't have -1. So they're not filled in. Then arrows go opposite directions. So do you guys see how we basically have two situations here? We have the arrows can go opposite directions like this, or they can be sandwiched in between. Everyone see that? Opposite directions or sandwiched in between. Okay? I need you to grab either a colored pencil or a marker or a colored pen or something. I just need something that can write on top of whatever it is that you wrote in. So I wrote in pencil, I'm grabbing a marker. I need you to grab a marker, maybe a colored pencil or a colored pen. I need you to grab something. The arrows go the opposite directions. Oh, we haven't written it yet. Sorry, erase that. We haven't written it yet. Okay, before we use our color, we have to write the answer for this one. So we're going to say K is less than 1 or K is greater than 1. K is less than 1 or K is greater than 1. And you can see actually that here the arrows match. So less than, greater than, greater than. Nope, you're exactly right, -1. Sorry, my bad. K is less than -1 or K is greater than +1. Thank you. Okay, so now I'm going to grab my color and I'm going to go up to the first example. I'm going to take my color, I'm going to write on this. This is a less than. And here's what you're going to write in your color. You're going to write less than. You're going to add a D. Less than. Less than. And if you have a less than sign, it makes a sandwich of the answer. See the sandwich? See it? Less than makes a sandwich. Less than makes a sandwich. Get it? Less than makes a sandwich. See, it's a sandwich. Less than sandwich. Okay, cool. The next one. This is a greater than or equal to sign. This is a great or. And the answers are or. It goes one direction or the other. Greater. They go one direction or the other. Greater. Yeah? See what we did there? Clever? Yeah? No? Okay. Next one. Less than or equal to, we have a less than sign. Less than. So we have another sandwich. 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 I know, but maybe you'll remember it. Less than. Sandwich. No? Less than makes a sandwich. Okay. And then the last one is a greater. 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 So it's an or. Greater makes an or. One direction or the other direction. Wasn't that clever? Thought of it myself. That obvious? Is it that obvious? It's pretty good, huh? It's pretty brilliant. It's pretty. Should get an Emmy for that. No? Okay. All right, let's do some where we don't draw the picture, where we just do it and we get the answers right away and we are brilliant. Are you ready? Are you ready? Whew, okay. More examples, less work. All right, we're going to say absolute value of n less than 7. Okay? This is a less than. I already know what the answer is. How do I already know what the answer is? It's a less than. So what does it make? What kind of answer does it make? A sandwich. So n is in between what numbers? -7, +7. Done. Less than. Less than makes a sandwich. Sandwich. Okay? Let's try another one. Absolute value of Q is greater than or equal to 10. This is a, what sign? Greater. Greater. So we're going to have Q, and we have to have our arrows going one direction or the other. So less than or Q is greater. And what are the numbers we're going to use? -10, +10. The smaller one always goes with the less than, the smaller number. See how it points to the left? So that's the smaller one. And then this one points to the right, so this is the bigger one. Smaller number goes over here, bigger number goes over there. Less than -10, greater than +10. Arrows go in opposite directions. One answer or the other. Okay, here's the next one. What symbol is that? No. This is greater. Greater. Okay? So it's going to be one or the other. One or the other. And what numbers do I use? Quentin, you don't have to text me the answer every time. You can just write it down. All right, what number should I write? +11, okay? less than, so this is a sandwich, and what numbers is t sandwiched in between? Okay, I'm going to give you a worksheet. You're going to do the first 4 problems. The first 4. All right, here is the next example. We're going to add just a couple more steps in there. So we're going to make it a little bit more difficult, but not much. So we have the absolute value of p minus 7 is greater than or equal to -3. So I have to do something to the inequality before I can figure out which type of inequality it is, if it's a less than or a greater. I have to add the 7 over first. And then once I add the 7 over, that's when the absolute value is alone. So this is just like when we did the equations. We don't have to flip the sign because we're moving a negative number. We're adding it, but we're not multiplying or dividing it. So if you guys remember with the equations, we always had to get the absolute value alone before we did the 2 different versions. Here we have to get the absolute value alone before we decide what the symbol is saying. Okay? So we're going to add the 7 over to the other side. And then once we get the 7 over to the other side, then we can decide what type of symbol it is. So we added the 7 over, we got 4. Now I'm going to look and I can see that my symbol is what? Greater. Greater. So it's one or the other. So my arrows go opposite directions with an or in between. And what number do I have? 4 and -4. So the -4 goes over here, the +4 goes over there. Okay, let's try the next one. -9 times n is greater than -36. So what should I do first? I'm going to divide or add? Divide, because when they're written right next to each other, it means that they're multiplied. So I'm going to divide by -9, and if I divided by a negative, what do I have to do with my inequality symbol? I have to flip it. Okay, so I flipped my symbol, and now I'm going to determine what this symbol means. Less than. Less than. So a less than symbol is going to give me what kind of answer? Sandwich. It's going to give me a sandwich. So n is going to be sandwiched in between 4 and -4. Okay? All right, go ahead and take a moment and try problems. I think I'm going to have you guys try problems 5 and 6. And then I think we're actually going to be done for today. I think that was a lot.